Are Asian technology companies keeping up with their counterparts around the world? Absolutely. When you think of the most popular technology brands today, Samsung, LG, HTC, Lenovo, all of those are Asian brands. So they're absolutely keeping up, but also leading the way. When it comes to entering other regions, and increasingly we're starting to see Asian tech brands spread around the world, it's the same lessons that a lot of US and European brands have learned over the past several decades, which is you can't come in and ignore the cultural nuances, the customs of that particular market into which you're entering. You have to be a part of that market. You have to act like you are a part of that country. Some of the most successful global technology brands over the past several decades have realized that and have not been just a foreign company that has set up shop in that market. They have invested in that market. They have set up research facilities in that market. They have established relationships with the people responsible for policy. And when companies don't do that, they find themselves in a lot of trouble, and they don't make a lot of friends. And so for the Asian technology brands that are starting to expand beyond the Asia-Pacific region, I would give them the same advice. A lot of Asian brands are starting to set up innovation centers in Silicon Valley, for example. A lot of Asian technology brands are starting to set up shop in Brussels. So they're really understanding that they have to act like they belong in that market, in that country, and really are not looked at as a foreign brand. They're actually looked at, in the United States, for instance, as an American brand. So I just returned from a tour of China, Korea, Singapore. And of course I knew this before I went there, and I've been to some of these markets before, but I think the biggest thing that struck me is how different those three markets in particular are from each other. I think the mistake that a lot of people make around the world is that they refer to the Asia-Pacific region as this monolithic region. They talk about the Asians, and I can't think of a more diverse region on our planet than Asia. The people in Singapore do things way differently than they do it in Korea, do it way differently than they do it in China. The other thing that struck me about these three markets in particular is just how advanced they are. We have a lot to learn from them. In China in particular, they have leapfrogged certain technologies that we spent decades focusing on in the United States, primarily because they have to, because they have 1.3 billion people that they have to serve. For instance, most people skipped the landline and went straight to a mobile phone. So that's just one example of how, just out of necessity, China has found themselves in a situation where they are far more advanced and have invested in, say, a wireless infrastructure way more than we have in other Western countries.